Call of Duty has been a complicated series over the years. What started out as games about realizing historical events has turned into a multi-billion-dollar franchise that lets you experience events such as getting killed by Seth Rogen or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. But how did we get here? While it has taken years to get to this unfortunate point in the timeline, there was a time where Call of Duty fiction almost felt plausible. This started with the release of Call of Duty 4 and pretty much lasted all the way to Black Ops 2. Every entry within this span was slowly defining the genre of first-person shooters. If you were to ask the average Joe off the street what entry was their favorite, they would probably say Modern Warfare 2. But not this Joe. It is nowhere near the masterpiece of the topic of this video. Black Ops 1 is peak Call of Duty, and even though the game is over a decade old, I can still play it like a midnight release back in 2010. This game practically lives rent-free in my head at all times. The numbers, man. The numbers. I've been looking at them for days, but I don't know what they mean. What could they mean? So, sit back and relax and join me, the average Joe, in remembering the good old glory days of Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 was released on November 9th, 2010 to almost every single platform imaginable. My particular system of choice was the Brick 360. However, you can play with motion controls on the Wii or even a stylus mode for the DS, especially if you enjoy paint. The developer of this title is Treyarch, who had done previous work on the Call of Duty series, specifically World at War. They became known as the studio who would do work on the more historical based games, which are completely different from the Modern Warfare titles, hence modern in the title. The story revolves around secret spies, sleeper agents, some weapons of mass destruction, and of course, those dirty commies. I have never been a Call of Duty campaign player myself, but I do know many of my friends played through the story and thoroughly enjoyed it. I never got used to the set pieces, and if I'm being completely honest, I've always bought COD for the multiplayer or zombies modes. But clearly, people like it enough to have their favorite characters become playable in some of the newer entries in the series. This overall direction was critical for the success of the game. I think it led the developers to be less cookie cutter. Some things are best left unknown. This game is dark, it has mysteries with no clear-cut answers, and creates suspense within the player just in its menu. I don't know why loading the game is all glitchy. I don't know why the menu screen is me in a torture chair. I don't know why this music is so damn catchy. These are all things that keep the player engaged in the game and wanting more. Something that recent titles, in my opinion, can't recreate. But how does Blops 1 surpass the success of prior entries like Modern Warfare 2? What could it possibly have done better to surpass the best Call of Duty game of all time? Well, stick around, bucko. I'll tell you how. Black Ops is the first game to directly define and outline the modern Call of Duty's three major pillars. The first I have already briefly touched on, which is the single-player campaign. The second is multiplayer mode, and the last is zombies. Having three different game modes is crucial because it allows for a broader reach in terms of player skill. If you have never played Call of Duty multiplayer before skill-based matchmaking, you get thrown into lobbies with prestige masters and get obliterated. Not the best for learning the game. So instead of getting shredded match after match, queue up on Kino, learn how to aim down a reticle, and fire weapons at hordes of zombies, who don't fire any guns at you. This structure allows for player growth to happen in a variety of ways. Most importantly, it is based off the enjoyment of the individual player, while keeping them playing the game, trying to get better. When I first got into Call of Duty, I had no idea how to even start playing. I wasn't allowed to buy any rated M games growing up, and I could only play it at friends' houses. Catholic school problems, am I right? Even though I couldn't play campaign or multiplayer well, having a zombies mode kept me more than willing just to keep trying. This is why the three pillars of COD are still used to this very day. There are players that buy for the story, there are players that buy for the multiplayer, and lastly, there are players that buy for the zombies mode. It's literally what makes Call of Duty so accessible. But what about multiplayer? It couldn't have been better than Modern Warfare 2. I would like to preface this part by saying getting good at multiplayer was rather hard for me at the time. I did not have adequate time with the game to even get a positive KD. It wasn't until Black Ops 2 where I finally learned how to hold my own. It was only then when I could go back to Black Ops 1 and play the multiplayer. But I have never fully indulged myself during the actual life of the game. But the multiplayer is actually pretty simple. You choose your game mode, queue up with other players or friends from around the world, battle, and level up after each match. As you level up, you unlock weapons, customization features, and attachments. Reach max rank? No problem. You just hit prestige and you do it all over again. I would also like to say about the multiplayer that it is nice to go back in modern lobbies, which during the making of this video, I was playing in actual lobbies in 2025. You know, it's a lot different in terms of pace. The game's a lot slower. You can actually sometimes see what is actually killing you, and it just takes a little bit of time to get readjusted to, but I honestly prefer the slower paced multiplayer to the more modern, fast paced, kind of sliding all around mumble jumbo in like Black Ops 6 or 7. Gameplay wise, features like dolphin diving made the movement system dynamic. Also, pro tip, play on tactical. It will make your games much better. Multiplayer can be a serious time investment and grind fest if you become truly addicted to it. I'm more of a team deathmatch type of guy, but free-for-all, domination, and capture the flag were all fun as well. If you weren't into these, party modes like Sticks and Stones and Gun Game just might have been for you. I remember my pre-MLG days primarily being a noob tuber and being an elite Sticks and Stones menace. To me, maps most certainly make or break a multiplayer experience. Popular maps like Firing Range and Jungle make their first appearance here. However, there is one map in particular that stands out from the rest. This map has to be the iconic Call of Duty map. It teaches you about chaos, all while having the simplest layout so any player at any skill can easily partake in the action. Yes, you have probably guessed it by now, that map is in fact Nuketown. This map has become so memorable and so well received that every Black Ops game since its release has its own iteration. There are even dedicated game modes that only queue you in Nuketown. That is how important this map was and still is. I think people enjoy this map because of the premise, you know, nuke launch site, right? With 2 houses on each side, with 2 buses in the middle, it is just a good time all around. And not to mention, multiple Blops maps have been remade so many times. I'm starting to wonder if we shouldn't just re-release this game already. But that's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down today. Instead, let's revisit, in my opinion, the best part of Black Ops 1, which is the zombie mode. Oh, my beloved. If there was ever a game mode I could be married to, this is it. My childhood gaming experience was defined by 2 things. The first being my GameCube. The second, Black Ops Zombies. The premise is simple. See what I did there? Kill as many zombies as possible to earn points and move on to the next round. As the rounds become more grueling, hit the mystery box for wonder guns, pack a punch for even more power, and get good at running in circles. Up to this point in gaming, there were only a handful of games that explored this genre of zombies. None were ever that serious and tended to lead in a more comical route in narrative. And this is a fine angle to take in my opinion, but replayability starts to become an issue. The zombie storyline is an iceberg, where it takes tons of time to put all the pieces together. To start off, COD Zombies has a cast of very likable characters who all have unique dialogue and all have mysterious vibes attached to them. You will never really know their true motives or why they are all hanging out together in an apocalypse. If you want to, you can have the ultimate friend experience where up to 4 players can be playing all at the same time on split screen. Every time you boot up a new round, a different outcome will happen. I have very fond memories of LAN sleepovers where we used every monitor, every TV screen, every electric plug just to play this. I even had my first illegal drink with this game. Blops 1 Zombies is a fresh of breath air. Maps like Kino, 5, Ascension, Call of the Dead, Shangri-La, and Moon are all fire. And if you're thinking to yourself, aren't these just all the Black Ops 1 maps? The answer to your question is no, because they included all the maps from World at War. In my opinion, Black Ops 1 Zombies is equivalent to the Eagles' greatest hits albums. They are just so fun to play, and I can go back any time I want to, and it just feels like it did a decade ago. I'm pretty sure I've also bought the DLC multiple times. Thanks, Xbox. What is insane is that the story hidden within the maps started a prominent YouTube community. And back in the day, YouTube theory channels were discussing zombies and Link. They were explaining these weird Easter egg things, and we didn't know what was coming next. And then the next thing you know, we're on the moon. Being part of this niche community was exciting and fun, and was one of the largest parts of the game's overall success. If you guys are interested, I really don't mind covering zombies in depth, since this is just a super simple rundown of the mode. Just let me know in the comments down below if this is something you guys are interested in. Blaps 1 zombies will always be goated, and I would say to a younger generation of gamers, I would highly recommend picking Black Ops 1 on Steam just to play this experience. Black Ops 1 is one of the greatest Call of Duties to date, and we can see the impact it had on the series as a whole. This game was as fresh and alive as a game could be. Could this be because the game wasn't designed around profits and using AI for the sake of using AI? Or could it be because Activision wasn't squeezing all its studios to produce games year after year? I think we all know the answer to this. Black Ops 1 is a complete experience that created lasting impressions on us, and it is deserving of being one of the best-selling games of all time and should be remembered as such.
Invite sent. Octopod just took it. I'm leaving, man.
No offense, I don't know if you're talking about me, but you sound like crap right now.
Hey there, my basement dwelling gamers. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. You are really, really, really neat. If you are just wandering in and are new to the channel, I make some cool videos of video games and collecting, whatever I'm in the mood for. If you want to stay up to date with me, please consider hitting that subscribe button and pressing the notifications so you can know exactly when the next video drops. If you like today's video, why not just hit that like button so we can reach the hearts of more people, and of course, drop a comment down below. Alright friends, this is the Average Joe saying have a great one wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.